Yeah, Kevin, just after watching the film, I guess your takeaways from Friday night.
I think coming out of that game, I thought the goal was to play for each other on that game against Michigan State, and I thought the guys they played for each other. Like they didn't want to let each other down, and that was one of our only key to victory was when at the end of the day, you could look at your teammate and say I did everything I could, and I think they did that. So I think obviously it was a tale of two halves. I think it was. We played great early down defense, and it was third down in the first half. Then you see what happened in the second half. We were able to get off the field in third down, and we did what we had planned to do the entire game. So the takeaways is like always, it's guys we're so close yet we just got to execute at a high level for 4 quarters, and I think those guys did play hard. They did everything that we asked them to do, and it's those critical moments that we have to continue to be the best.
Is there any, or what about the first halves has really hindered you guys? Obviously, put yourselves in some pretty big holes this season throughout the year.
Yeah, once we go back and dive into it as in the off season, what were the issues? We'll find some things out. But I think you got to start fast. That's always a big deal for us. Like we stress it throughout the course of the week. It's the first quarter, whether it's the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, whatever it is. Like we have to be able to start fast and continue that success. Hopefully, So. I think it goes back to execution on third downs, and we had opportunities in the first drive. We had 2 third downs where, one was they caught the ball in the zone, the other one we missed a tackle, and next thing you know, they're scoring a touchdown. So, if we can just do a great job early downs and then finish the drives off, we'll be in a good spot.
Obviously, they got a lot of new pieces on the other side this coming week, new scheme and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Is there anything you can take away from last year's game heading into Saturday?
Yeah, I think there's some familiar pieces up there. There's a couple guys up front that are still there, but by and large, everybody else is new, So, it's a different team. It's a different year, obviously, but it's the same university, but it is a completely different team, And I think, this offense is built on execution, and they do a pretty good job of executing down the field. So, I think these guys are still excited for the challenge. At the end of the day, it is still Indiana, and it's a trophy game where our guys are fired up for, and hopefully they can continue to battle for one more shot here.
Obviously, while the names are the same on the uniforms, the rosters have changed a lot since last year. What's maybe the thing that stands out to you the most of what's different now for Indiana offensively than what you faced a year ago?
I think that they have a true identity of what they are. I think last year when we got here, they had a transition going on from one coordinator to another, and they kind of changed who they were from during that transition. Now it's all right. This is who they are. This is what they want to do. They want to be efficient. They're going to run the ball and RPO and do these things. So you have an idea of what they're going to do. And now it's just a matter of us going out to execute and stopping it. So a lot of these guys had familiarity coming from James Madison with them. I think the quarterback's done an unbelievable job coming in from Ohio and learning the system and orchestrating this offense down the field and putting the ball where it needs to go. But there is a lot of familiarity with some of these guys on this roster with this scheme, which helps. So we got a great challenge about us, and we'll see what happens.
I feel like we've asked some version of this question probably a few times this year, but as you look back on the full season, up through that first half, is there anything that stands out to you as why the third downs were just so chronically a problem this year?
I think once we go back and look at I get a synopsis every week of all right, wins, losses, and what was the issues, and whether it was a missed tackle or an execution error or whatever it may have been, it hasn't been just one, and as coaches, that's where we have to find a way to be better for our players, to get them in a situation where if they can't do certain things, we can't expect them to do it again, So whether it's helping in coverage, whether it's a certain pass rush technique, whatever it is, we got to give them tools to have success. And I think too, like you'll see guys got to make plays too, and we can put them in the right call, but we got to put them in positions to execute the call as well. So it's a plethora of things, and we got to go back and every week it's going to the drawing board to figure out what we got to do better.
When the culprit's that hard to define, I guess, what do you feel like is the biggest priority between now and the start of next season for this defensive staff to correct that issue?
I think I think as we move forward, obviously, it all starts with who you got, right? So we got to make sure we got what we need to run the things that we want to run, and then obviously we got to keep stressing the fundamentals and techniques, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you call it. It's going to boil back down to fundamentals, and guys are executing their job, doing their jobs at the best, are ones with great fundamentals. Whether it's your takeoff on a pass rush, whether it's your technique in your press, it goes on and on and on. And once those guys have confidence in their technique, then they're going to play confident, So I think just going back to the basics and becoming a better fundamental football team is going to take us a long way.
Early in the season, I think we talked about the depth this defense had compared to last year, and now it's getting stretched kind of thin. How challenging has this been in defensive line, for example, last game, to just get guys who haven't played a lot of reps to get in there and make plays?
Yeah, I think you saw kind of like how we had to adapt. There's a lot of different things going on up front. So, but ever since fall camp has started, there's always been this, and that's football though, right? There's always injuries. There's always something going to happen, and I think the trick in the modern college football is because of who has the best depth, and who's going to be able to go because of the rosters and how like people in and out of this thing. Just who are those guys, right? And I think you're seeing us play a lot. We've got a lot of young guys playing, and whether it's a young guy as a freshman or it's a young guy that just playing experience-wise, whether it's a transfer that didn't have a whole lot of experience at the last place he was at or just coming out of high school. I think you're seeing that right now. And guys are kind of getting, like baptized under fire right now as going out there and doing some things. But, it's always a challenge. Who do we have this week and how can we make this thing work? But that's my job, right? We got to find a way to make these guys play hard and put them in the best possible situations to have success.
You've known Ryan for a while now. I think he's a very confident guy, but I think after the Michigan State loss was the first time he was kind of vulnerable a little bit after the game. How much is this wearing on a guy that he still believes in everything that he's doing operating this thing, and it just seems every week it's a new mistake or something different kind of comes up that wasn't there before?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, there's nothing that myself or their staff would not do for Ryan Walters. Ryan Walters is an unbelievable human. He's an unbelievable dad. He gave me an opportunity to come back here and be a coordinator again, So, nobody's wearing this more than him, obviously. And it just sickens me to know that, we are where we are right now because of the guy that he is, and how much he puts into this whole program, he's more than a boss, he's a good buddy of mine and we want more for it, obviously, so.
Kevin, was the second half Saturday maybe the best you think the defense has played aside from the Indiana State game this year?
Yeah, they did well, and we were able to execute, I go back to that game. It was in the first half, early downs. We were doing a great job. We were getting into third downs. It was just converting on third downs, right? And then all of a sudden the second half comes and we put an emphasis, and it's just the tale of two halves. And hopefully you can build off of that going into this last game, and say this is who you are, this is who you need to be. Let's do it, and prove everybody wrong. And at the end of the year, people are going to look back at this game and say, all right, you beat Indiana, or you didn't, and hopefully this was a springboard into some success for this Saturday.
Has this been the toughest year you've ever had as a coach?
It's definitely up there. It's definitely tested the resolve. But I think I said this earlier in the year. Is tough times never last. Tough people do, and I feel like I know what I am as a coach, and it's tested me a lot this year. With how we orchestrate as a leader, as a manager, as a teacher, as a coach, shooting as a father and a husband, because this job is demanding, and you take stuff home, you try to leave it at an office, but it's all the same as, right? So, I give props to my wife and shoot my kids and everybody else that have to listen to everything else. That's the part that eats at you the most is I can handle media, I can handle fan pages and everything else, but when your kids are looking at you, that's a whole other story.